The following program is a special presentation of the Big Ten Network, produced in association with the University of Wisconsin.
It's really creepy when I'm looking at you because I can see behind you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you see the
So
TV.
I can see when you're talking and when it's like on me, and so I'm like, hey.
It's upstairs.
And I urge you to pay double.
Yeah, so I want to, all right, everybody, bring it down. I want to open up with a discussion about who you were in high school versus who you are now. I think it's safe to say a lot of people, once they graduate high school, sort of find themselves in a place in their life where they can present a new person to a new group of people, right? They're going to college or maybe working, but it's kind of a way to reinvent yourself, so to speak. Did you find yourself changing in any way between high school and college?
I don't really feel like as though I've changed dramatically as a person. I think I've changed in the way that we all have, where we realize that we're on our own, so to speak, independent in the fact that, we have to do our own laundry and, find food on our own, and, we don't have those parents who are telling us what to do all the time. So, in that way, yeah, but.
I'm the oldest out of 6. My mom hadn't told me not to wash or all of that stuff. I've been doing it.
Do you think that's different because you're a girl, though?
No, I think it's different because I'm the oldest out of 6 kids.
Because I'm the oldest out of 4. And I can say, like, my mom, she still had to tell me, like, you need to wash your clothes.
Because you're lazy.
No.
No. I really feel like leaving home to college wasn't a big transition from my high school me to my college me. I really feel like, one, I gained a lot more weight because my mom wasn't regulating the stuff that we was eating. I didn't have a lot more vegetables when I got to college because it's too expensive to buy with my own money. So I gained weight. But outside of that, I was just as fabulous as I was in high school, please.
I don't think it's necessarily just the independence factor, though. It's also what you're exposed to in high school as opposed to college. I know my high school, at least, was very, I don't know, I want to say it was very secluded and kind of, I felt sheltered. And then coming into college, you're exposed to a lot more, but I think that in high school, you kind of develop your fundamental morals and stuff. And I don't think that, at least from my own experience, I haven't deviated that far from those.
I agree. I think that here, a lot of people kind of move from small town to, like, this is a big city. But for me, like, that's the way I feel. I went to school in Los Angeles, and my school, we were a magnet school, so it was very diverse. So I feel like I came from a very diverse high school in a very big city, very big high school, to a school that's, like, in my mind, not
homogenous.
Yeah, it's very homogenous. It's not that big, and it's kind of like a downgrade, honestly. It's kind of like a downgrade as far as diversity goes, as far as opportunities that were open to me all the time. Like, here, the city shuts down at 9 o'clock. But, like, me personally, did I change? Yeah, I changed a little bit. I think I was a lot more, like, goofy in high school. Like, I was like, I'll say it. I won best sense of humor junior year and senior year. So, okay, well, I think we can all agree that we have changed a little bit, but do you guys think that it was more of a conscious change? Did you guys do it consciously, or was it just, a circumstantial thing? Like, I can say that I definitely didn't change. Like, I think I adapted, so I did have to learn to, when to say things, when not to say things, and you have to learn to adapt to the people that you're around and different environment that you're around. Like, this is very different. The Midwest is very different from the West Coast, so I definitely had to learn how to adapt to that. But fundamentally, like you were saying, in high school, you learn your values, and that's kind of what you stick with. You stick with your guns, so.
I agree with Mike. Yeah, it was mainly adaptation. I wasn't used to, like, my friends in high school didn't, like, run around and party all the time. Like, we were pretty much boring, I guess. We would, do our work, go home, maybe hang out every once in a while, and go to bed. And that was how it was when I was a freshman, too.
I think it is interesting to look at people, though, that in high school were, and I'm gonna use this term, a little more straight edge, and then coming into college where you're exposed to Madison being one of the bigger party schools. What happens to those kind of people? I don't think that I changed that much, but I've seen people that went from high school being very kind of straight edge, and then going into college, and all of a sudden going crazy because they have all this independence they don't have supervision.
No, it's not. It's that too. But like when you're in high school, you gotta let your kids get out. Like my mom, when I got my car, I turned 16. I felt like I was a grown man already. I had a job, I had responsibilities, I knew where to go, I had my car, and I was like my chariot. Took me all around LA.
So So that's interesting. Like Mike said, 16 was kind of like that point for you. Was college really that point for anyone, or had they already kind of made that transition when they were like 16 or 18?
I think it was a point for me. I definitely think I changed during college. I mean, I came in actually thinking that I would do art and theater. I mean, that's what I did in high school. I painted a lot. I did a lot of drawing, and I was in musicals and theater, and really enjoyed that. And that was going to be my major. Then I kind of took a different tack, ended up getting really interested in politics, and I think that sort of funnels into what this university is and what it does and how it sort of promotes you. It promotes different parts of your personality, I think, to come out in interesting ways. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I think in some ways, I've actually grown to like the state of Wisconsin more because I attended Madison. You know, maybe it's because it's the sort of flagship public.
This program is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you have comments about this broadcast, please email us at programming@uc.wisc.edu.
I bought my ex-boyfriend a pair of thong sandals. He was like, what is this for?
Why?
To take a shower. He was at the door. I was like, take a shower. He was like, I'm not taking a shower.
Those
I
are
gotta
so
wear those.
embarrassing.
So you don't have
No.
sandals
So
foot.
we've been talking a lot about the transition from high school to college and kind of the transformation of ourselves. But what about the transformation of our relationships? How have our relationships, for example, with our parents changed from high school to college? I think for me personally, one of the biggest things is just that I feel like I can be more open with my parents now. They know that I'm on my own, they know that I'm independent, and they know that at this point in my life, the morals and values that I have are gonna kind of stick with me. So they know not to kind of be on my back anymore, so I feel more comfortable with speaking to them about anything.
I agree with Alex. I mean, I think the relationship with my parents is I don't want to say healthier because it was never really unhealthy, but since it's not, like high school where you always assume that your parents have ulterior motives when they tell you something, like they tell you something so that you'll do something else. They know that I'm on my own and they respect that. And so when we talk, we can be more open, like you said. And we're also not living in the same house. So we're not, we don't bicker like we used to every once in a while. And I think it's better in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I can say as far as, I've definitely gotten a lot closer to my parents. Like, my dad always tells me now, he says, well, you're a grown man, so I can't tell you what to do, I can only give you advice. So I love that now. Like, he gives me great advice. Like, and some of the stories he tells me now, it's like, wow, like you did that back in college? Like, okay. Some stuff comes out.
It's not just you being open with your parents, but also I found that my parents are able to be a lot more open with me and telling me about their college experience, and they feel comfortable with it now.
I would say the relationship between me and my siblings has changed a lot more than that between my parents and me. And I think that's because my brother and my sisters, well, my older sister's out of college, but my younger brother and younger sister are now in college. And so I think we're experiencing a lot of the same things. And I think our relationships are more mature, and we're able to talk about what it is we sort of want to do and how sort of college has sort of informed different decisions, which is, I think, meaningful because it's important to be close with them.
Do you think a lot of that changes because you're not living with them anymore, or?
Maybe.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing.
Probably, yeah.
Like, you're the youngest, like I'm the oldest, and now that I'm in college, I feel like,
I'm the second oldest.
Second oldest. All right, but you got two older sisters, right?
I have one older sister and two younger
So you
siblings.
missed the whole story.
Man.
You're good. Keep on going.
I'll say, my point of view, like my relationship has definitely changed, especially with my sister. Like, I've gotten a lot closer to my sister. She's in high school now. It's kind of like following behind me. So now it's like hindsight is 20/20. I really try to like point her in the right direction. I always tell her she should do better than me. Like, she definitely should.
All right, so we've already talked about how our relationships have changed with our parents now that we've gotten to college, but what about high school friends? I mean, I grew up not too far from this university, so a lot of my high school friends go to this university. However, I'm only really close with 4 or 5 of them. But those 4 or 5 people I'm even closer with now. And I think that's what really happens in college, because you're all experiencing new things, especially on a campus this large, and you can really share those experiences, and you really learn kind of who your friends are.
So Meredith, do you still hang out with your friends from high school here in college?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Okay.
well, my boyfriend's from high school. We met at the very end of high school, and we're still together. But then I also have 3 other friends who I met in high school who I'm still very close with and keep in touch with and see on a regular basis. And then I have one friend from pre-K who I still see, and we have the same major and we have classes together.
I don't have any friends who attend UW-Madison from Montello High School, but I guess one question I have is, did anyone feel as though they resisted seeing some of their high school friends, and that you're coming to a new place, right? You want to sort of expand your relationships. You want to meet different people. That's certainly part of the college experience. Did you find yourself sort of pushing back and not seeing some of your old friends as much?
I had 17 kids from my high school go to Madison, and I went to a small school, so that was a huge percentage. And actually one of my best guy friends went to Madison as well. But I found that my first semester freshman year, when I was still hanging out with my friends from high school, I was missing out on a huge part of the college experience because I wasn't meeting new people. So definitely from that second semester freshman year on, I've made a really conscious effort to not hang out with my friends from high school, to make new friends. And when we go home over Christmas break, over the summer, whatever, we're still all best friends. It doesn't make a difference. We just have separate lives at college.
For me, when I go home, as soon as my plane touches down, I'm back in my car. Those are the first people I call. I got, 4 or 5 really close friends. We've been tight since 10th grade, and I consider those my friends no matter what. So, and this is kind of hard because my friends, they don't, we've never heard of UW necessarily. We grew up around USC, UCLA, so UW, they're like, oh, you know, you go to school on a farm or something. They don't really know. So,
where?
That's a lot. Where? Oh, you doing what? Yeah.
Well, what's really interesting, I don't know, for me, and I know for a lot of people who also went to my high school, we all kind of thought that, this place is so close and everyone's going to go here. Maybe I don't want to go here. And it really, I kind of second guessed it, and I thought, well, maybe I don't really want to go. And then I really looked into it and decided, this really is a good place to go.
I feel like, yeah, I'm in control.
That baby yellow shirt on.
I wasn't correct. I like it, all right? Why do you think my comment is...
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things on campus that have changed you. I think that we all said earlier that, coming to college, we've changed a little bit, but what on campus do you think has been the biggest influence on you personally? I could definitely say there's been a couple things. One of them was my freshman year dorm. Dre, she was my house fellow back in Whitty, multicultural floor.
Go MLC.
Yeah, MLC. It was great though. I just remember nights of staying up playing football in the hallway and finding food in the lounge that we would just be like, oh yes, food, and it would be great. And those people I'm still close with to this day. So that's been a bit in my fraternity. So.
That's interesting that you said it, yeah, Mike, because for me it's dorms and sorority, so it's very similar, but it's good and bad. Dorms, not so good. My floor that I lived on, especially freshman year, was everyone had their doors kind of shut. No one really wanted to talk to each other, and so no one on the floor really got close. I feel like maybe a couple people, but not many. And then sorority was a good one because it kind of it introduced me to this whole new kind of world, really. I mean, I was pretty sheltered, I guess, when I was in high school and at home, and I think that really kind of opened things up in a good way,
Aside from your social life, though, I think that one of the biggest influences, and we can probably all agree on this, is your professors and the education level that you've been receiving in college. In high school, clearly, you had mandated classes, you knew what you had to take, and there was a certain curriculum. But in college, we've been able to explore all sorts of different opportunities, and that, for me at least, has shaped me and helped me know what I want to do with my life, especially because of certain professors that are just.
No, totally. And outside of professors who are actually grading you, advisors, the most influential person on this campus to me that's really helped me a lot was my old manager at the radio station, the student radio station, and Dave Black, and he's helped me exponentially, just with career advice and helping me through personal things, trying to help me make my way through. And
yeah, I would second what Alex said. I think that's because professors, there's a tremendous amount of power that professors have in the classroom, and if they're really excited about what they're teaching and what they're researching, that rubs off on you, seriously. I had a class my sophomore year. It was American Environmental History taught by Professor William Cronin. I was so excited because it seemed as though he was so inspired by his work that and no lie here, I brought my dad to the last lecture because I said, you have to sit in on this. You have to listen, to what this guy is saying. And I think that certainly shaped me in many ways, just knowing that there's so many faculty on this campus who really care about what they do.
I mean, now that we think about everything that we've, picked up as individuals and becoming the adults that we are here in college, you really have to think back about, what your parents were saying to you, was that really, truth in that? Are you really using the skills and the life lessons and, you roll your eyes at your parents? Are you really using that here in college?
Absolutely. Oh my God, they are so smart looking back. They are a huge resource. And, you know, I always think, like, when I was in high school, like, oh, you know, they're on my back. They just want me to clean his kitchen just because they don't want to do it. But now I see, like, I need to clean my kitchen. I need to do this for myself. Like, everything they had me do, it was so, you know, I can learn to do it for myself when I grow up. So now I'm growing up.
No, I see where you guys are coming from, and that's completely the same for me as well. And I mean, I've always known that what they tell me, even if I didn't want to hear it when I was younger, was something I was going to have to use later on. And now especially, you know, I realize how important the information was and that advice was, and what I really want to instill in my younger brothers. I have 2 younger brothers, one who's coming here next year, is that, you know, they're not as dumb as you think they are, you know.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel as though your parents at all sort of projected a timeline on your life? You know, said, you know, once you graduate from college, you want to do graduate school and then get a career. Is there anything you still resist?
No.
So they've given you a lot of support, a lot of advice, lessons,
Now,
what have you, but
my mother could never put a timeline on my life. I'm telling you, because this woman has been here and there. She was a nurse. She did accounting. She did whatever she felt like doing. So, you know, I tell her every time, like, she's like, well, "What are you gonna do when you graduate?" I'm like, "What did you do when you graduated?" Like, you know, I always challenge her, like, you was all over the world. Okay, you know, like, she always allowed me to be like that free spirit, and so I really do think that my mother, for one, she did teach me a lot of life lessons, but she's the kind of person that won't keep honing in on something. She'll tell you once, and then she'll wait till it come full circle, and then you come back and be like, "Mom, you remember when you told me?" She'd be like, "Yeah, I remember, and I told you to avoid it, but you didn't," and so you learned.
Yeah.
So.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that's so interesting, though, just looking at parents that are able to let go of their children and able kind of just to, like, let them go live their lives, as opposed to parents that still try to cling on when they're in college. One of my really good friends has a dad who will not let him be. Will not let him be. And he's done nothing but resist that since he got to college. It's not helpful anymore. It just becomes kind of...
yeah, and not only in college, but after college. I mean, there's some parents who, you know.
This program is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you have comments about this broadcast, please email us at programming@uc.wisc.edu.
So let's talk about where we go from here, sort of post-college. A question I have is, are you on the path you thought you'd always be on? Are you going into a field or an area that you thought you would from a very early age?
I can say for me, my life, it has a lot of random occurrences. My dad, he said, "That's the Montgomery look." I don't know what that means. I still to this day don't necessarily know what that means, but like me getting into Hamilton High School back in LA was a fluke. I still don't know how I got into Hamilton. How, you know, I got into Posse and came to the University of Wisconsin. Like, I had all my intentions going to San Jose State. So, you know, to kind of end up being here, the place I never really heard of, was kind of random. I thought I was going to be a high school teacher. Now, apparently, I want to be a lawyer. So, no, but I like where it's going.
On the opposite end of that, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the track that I thought I would be on academically and major-wise, but at the same time, like you said, random occurrences, you know. Yeah. I've had some opportunities I never thought I would have, and I'm very thankful for them, and luckily it's turned out that way, but yeah.
In high school, did you always want to be a broadcaster?
Well, I did theater a lot in high school, like you did, and I thought that was really fun, but I knew I would never be able to make any money by doing that. Granted, journalism is not a high-paying field. However, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. My mom actually was one that said it. She's like, "Well, you're good at English and, you know, language class," when I was younger, and I was like, "Yeah, and you really like to watch TV?" "Well, I do." And she's like, "Well, you know, those news people on TV, that's a job." And I was like, "You're right, they get paid to do that, don't they?" Yeah. And so that's kind of how it went off from there. But
no, as far as, I always knew I was good at, you know, a lot of stuff. I don't really know what I'm great at yet. I hadn't honed in on my greatness, but I'm working on it.
It's there.
You know, I'm branding myself. I'm working on it. But as far as, I know I was going to go to college, so I'm in college, and I know I was going to do healthcare. So I know I'll be in the healthcare field, and I kind of wanted to be behind the scenes and doing forensic pathology, but I didn't want people monopolizing on my time, so I was like, I'm not really going to go that route. And I decided, you know, so I started dabbling in a little bit of this communication stuff. So I found myself here, and I got a student radio show you should all listen to called The Juice Box. Plugging myself.
I think it's really interesting, though, looking not only at where we thought we were going to be to now, but at least for me, I thought I was going to be in the general route that I'm in now, but I still have no idea exactly what I want to do. And I thought by this point in my life, I would know that.
I like that.
Exactly.
I like not knowing where I'm going. Like, because I don't know. I like that.
Well, we're down to our famous final words. And the first thing I want to go over is what is one thing that you'll never change about yourself?
Physically or?
Well, either way.
My laugh.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I personally have no idea.
That's tough. I'm trying to think
All right,
here.
or look at it this way. What about something that you'd still like to change? Personality-wise.
I'm gonna go back to the first one and say the one thing I wouldn't want to change is my teeth, and nobody better not say nothing because I like my teeth. So,
You have good teeth.
I'd say idiosyncrasies. I have little like weird quirks that I wouldn't want to change. Like when I get into a car, whenever I'm driving, I want to make sure that the doors are all locked. Like, that's just a weird thing.
So you
I
don't
wouldn't
fall
want to
out?
change that. When I'm in the car, the doors are locked. Like you're not gonna lock anything. Maybe that's because like I just always was afraid that at some point like you could just open it up, you know?
do you
just
have
open
one?
up the door.
Do you have the one like the microwave? It has to be set back on the time. Like I hate when people leave like 30
Has to be
seconds after on the
reset.
mic.
Okay,
Yeah, I
No,
hate
I
that.
don't have that.
Oh.
Yeah, but
I know, I
I would
think-
say little idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. Like, I make really stupid faces sometimes, and I make really dumb noises when I do things. Like, it
Make a
sounds
noise.
funny. Like,
Is that the laugh? Change.
I wouldn't change that. No, I wouldn't
I think
change
there's a
that.
general idea, though, that there's certain things, like, for example, having ambition, that maybe there are different things in
Yeah.
college that have come
Sure,
along and,
sure.
and teased you away from that. But I think ambition is one thing, for me at least, that I always want to make sure I maintain.
I think one thing I would want to change is my tolerance level. Just like when people make dumb comments, I think of them as dumb comments. Like in my mind, I'd be like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!" And I know that I need to be more open-minded about things like that.
That might get you beat up telling people, well, you a fool.
I don't, but it's all in my mind. But I mean,
One thing-
that's still something that I don't need to be
You don't say
doing.
that about
One thing I
us.
wouldn't want to change is like right now in college, like I'm hungry. You know, like I'm not rich right now in college. You know, I don't have a degree yet, so like I can see the stuff I want. I'm really driven right now. Like I'm focused. Like tunnel vision. I'm almost there. So I hope that I always keep that in my life. It's like my
You don't want to
hunger.
settle. Yeah.
I don't ever want to just be so comfortable that I become lazy. Like, I'm in a state right now in my life that I'm hungry, I'm motivated, I'm always searching for something like new.
Going off of that, I think something to maintain is empathy. We're at the
Just
stage.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
It's been in my mind for like 2 minutes.
I mean, we're at this point right now where we're able to empathize with people. I mean, we're all poor, we're all in college. None of us have any direct idea of exactly what
The preceding program was produced by the University of Wisconsin in association with the Big Ten Network.